Hi guys! So we have gotten a lot of questions on Facebook from our friends about how we're eating and the meal plan that we're following. So we wanted to make a whole video about it. We did purchase a meal plan from a nutrition science person. So we won't be able to give you like our recipes. We can show you a little bit and we can like show you our meal prep. We can show you how we grocery shop and things like that. But just to keep the integrity of, you know, somebody has a business doing this, we won't be able to like give our recipes and things like that because you should just buy the meal plan yourself. And if you are interested, you can like Google Gauge Girl training, and a lot of times she runs Groupons or other kinds of deals and specials, and there might be something when you're watching this video that's available to be able to get a discount on her programs. But even without the discounts, personally for me, and I think I speak for Jason as well, having a program that has been designed specifically for us. So I'm following the 6-week winter shred, and he has one that's for men. We are eating completely separately. We are cooking completely separately. Not
eating separately.
Well,
separate things. We like to spend time together.
Right,
still.
But they're not the same exact meals. He eats one thing and I eat a totally different thing.
I'm a little bit bigger than her.
Yeah, and that's definitely, as a couple, those of you guys who are couples that have been on a weight loss journey or want to start a weight loss journey together, eating and food has always been kind of the struggle.
And there's times even with the meals we've gone through that like she might have eaten the same thing, but she would have eaten like half a serving, and I'm eating a serving and a half just because
exactly.
You know, it's the same items, but she shouldn't be eating the same quantity as I do.
Right, and so it's definitely about portion control. Like, I think we were all trained kind of as a society that on portion control, and I know here in America we have big issues with portion control. Jason learned that when he's been overseas, especially. So,
yeah, an ultimate cheeseburger, large fry, and a soda. Just because it's like for one person doesn't mean it's one serving.
Exactly.
You could that's probably realistically like 2 servings or even more than that.
Right.
For somebody to eat. So
exactly.
I'll be your visual aid.
Thank you, honey. So I will put the link down to Christine. She's got some amazing stuff. I've talked about it before. I found her on YouTube when Jason and I started this journey in about September of 2016. I got really involved in watching different YouTubers, and you know, you start learning very quickly who's out there to sell their products, who's out there to sell themselves, and then who's out there to really help people. And we've found some amazing YouTubers, and we're actually going to put some links of their channels too down here that have just really benefited us as far as like encouragement or motivation or programs at the gym. And Christine at Gauge Girl Training is a food science and a nutrition person. She's actually, she says in her video, she's a chemical engineer by trade. And so she knows her stuff. She is brilliant.
She knows the makeup of all the food.
Like, she understands like how just everything. Like, go and watch some of her videos. But we really needed some help as far as somebody else just giving it to us.
Well, we also like, you might be able to count calories, you might be able to count portions, stuff like that. But we figured out for both of us that it's not how much we eat, as it's how much we eat plus what we put in our body too.
Exactly.
So I could have, like before, I was counting calories before we did this, and I was losing some weight, but I was still eating breads, I was still eating all these different things in excess. You know, it's not that you can't eat things, it's that you need to watch how much of what is going in your body. So that's what this helps with, is the macros as opposed to just calorie counting and portion control.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's all very, very overwhelming. It was, you know, just counting calories in general was going to be, you don't have to hold that the whole time if you don't want to.
Okay, so what were you saying?
So just counting calories in general can be very overwhelming. Just knowing what to buy can be overwhelming. What to eat is overwhelming. And so knowing our personalities and knowing the things that would trip us up and make us to not be successful or make us get to a point where we would quit, we decided to go ahead and enlist the help of a professional. And for us, that is working. It might not work for everybody in everybody's family situation or everybody's financial situation. We will be completely honest. We have been spending more money at the grocery store than we normally would have been, just getting our pantry stocked up with a lot of the essential type things that you would use on a
And some equipment.
Yeah, some
too.
equipment.
Like we've gotten a new can opener because our can opener stopped working. We're getting a new spiralizer and just different things that help us meal prep.
Right, and we bought the meal prep containers and things like that. So there have been some expenses that we've incurred, but on top of that, we have not been eating out.
No.
And so that has completely balanced it out.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we might be even spending a little less. So
one of my friends calls, Jesse said it was easy for someone just to give this to us rather than us figuring it out. One of my friends calls it the dummy tax, and I think we're fine paying the dummy tax on this one because it was, it's worth the money just to be like, oh, I don't have to think about it. And we could show you, like, we're not going to show you recipes and such, but you can just see, like, in here, there's recipes for each day. And then this is the coolest part is she says, here's your grocery list. So everything that's on your meal for the week is right here. And then you just put what you have on hand and what you need to buy. So it takes the thinking out of it. You don't have to say, oh, thought I had to buy that and I forgot, because it's right there for you. So
this program comes with 42 days worth of eating. Now that's not 42 different meals. We do eat a lot of the same meal several times in the week. And even on some days, you might even eat the same meal for lunch and for dinner.
So again, don't just zoom in on it or anything, but it has like, this is for your post-workout, after you work out. Here's breakfast, here's a snack, here's lunch, here's a snack, here's dinner. So it's not just 42 meals, it's 42 full days.
Yeah, and so for those of you that might not like the idea of eating the exact same thing all the time, it has made it really super easy to plan out how we're going to cook and how it's taken a lot of stress out of us. And
cooking's a lot more fun when you have it done. It might not taste as like, I'll admit it doesn't taste like when it comes out of the pan and it's nice and fresh and the first time you make it, but it's still really tasty. And you just like, okay, microwave for 2 minutes and my dinner's made. You don't have to sit and clean up and bring all these pots and pans out every night.
Yep. Well, and there are things that we've learned too that I really like this, but it's not going to be that hard for me to just make this super fresh right then. We do meal prep things like some of our meats. There are a couple of crock pot meals that you obviously get 4 or 5 meals out of putting everything in the crock pot. Then you just plate that up and then those are easy to microwave. Some of the stuff we have decided is just easier to make, right then when you're going to be eating it.
I made paleo meatloaf this week and I made 2 whole meatloafs at a time because it was basically like 4 meals basically that I could just chop up and then portion out in the containers.
Right.
Easier than making a meatloaf each time.
Yeah. So. And we usually tend to do our breakfasts right, fresh because it's eggs and egg whites and things like that. And, it always, we do get to eat things like bacon. So,
usually the breakfast stuff seems to cook quickly too. Like it's not something that takes 30 or 40 minutes to make.
Right. And even the stuff that I've meal prepped ahead of time, like the chicken breasts, like if I've skilleted up some chicken breasts, however I'm eating it usually contains some sort of other fat mixed in with it later. So I'll just cook, like, for example, if the recipe is chicken breasts and kale and bacon and garlic and bell peppers or whatever, I'll cook the bacon and then I'll just toss the chicken breast that I've already cooked and diced up. I'll toss it in with the bacon towards the end to just reheat it through. So it gives it kind of you learn these techniques when you're becoming a meal prepper of how to make food more palatable. And again, we're using this program to train ourselves and train our bodies and train our minds and train our stomachs what real eating food to actually nourish us should feel like, should taste like, should be like.
I never would have picked eggplant, but we've kind of had to put this mentality in our minds that some of this stuff is good for your body and you're eating to nourish yourself. You're not always eating just because you want to enjoy the food all the time. So there's some things I can't think of other things. Oh, like I actually love spinach, which I figured out, but I never picked spinach before.
Exactly.
But it was like, oh, I'll just do this. And there's also been some things that we found out, that's not going to work. I don't like that. So I'm going to have to substitute that. So like I had smoked salmon, which I thought, I like salmon. Well, smoked salmon's different texture-wise and just the flavor's different and stuff. So I said, no, I'm going to have pork chop instead of, oh yeah, I'll show that. Here, you can talk while I find it.
So the other really cool thing about these particular plans is that Christine took a lot of time to put together very extensive substitution lists. So for people like me that have a problem with mushrooms and shellfish, a lot of times when you're going to go on a diet, seafood and shellfish are going to be those things that are going to be often repeated. And I just don't like fish because of also having my shellfish allergy.
That's always a word you stumble on.
It is. It's really hard.
Shellfish.
So I just also don't like fish in general. And I've tried different fishes to try to see if I could become a fish eater. And it's just not something I like. So I will choose to substitute that out. And in the cases of mushroom and shrimp, I do have to substitute those out. And she offers protein substitute charts, carb substitute charts, and fat substitute charts.
So like I went in here and said smoked salmon. I don't like that. So smoked salmon is, the serving is 50 calories and a half a gram of carbs and 2.3 grams of fat and 6.5 grams of protein. Well, pork chop is 55, no carbs, 2.3, which is identical to the smoked salmon, and 8.5 protein. So I'm getting more protein, less carbs, and the same amount of fats. And I say, oh, I can eat that because I like it.
Right. I will sit down and I will go through my whole next week and see what I need. And then I'll start making a list of how much for the week I need to get me through for all of my menu.
To clarify, she has the list in the book.
Yes.
But we bound the book. And rather than printing out a list and doing it that way, we choose to write it out this way. And plus she can, like, Jess makes notes about, like, this store has this on sale and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then we'll put these two together. So we'll each do our own list because we're different, but we do have crossover. Like we might both need bell peppers or whatever. Right. So then we'll sit together and say, okay, let's go through each of our lists and we'll make one master list. So that we tried the first week at the store just literally shopping separately.
Yeah.
Like we each had a list and we were just getting our own stuff, but we figured it's faster and more like efficient for us to figure out, okay, we need this much total for both of us.
Right. Like, so for example, this week I'm going to need 26 ounces of egg whites.
And I don't have my quantity down there, but I'll need egg whites too. So we'll
right,
add
so
my
he'll figure out how many ounces of egg whites he'll need. Then we'll look in the fridge, see how much egg whites we have currently from what we've already purchased. And then we'll deduct that and then we'll purchase
Which is how our list is set up. I mean, again, it's set up to be, here's what you need, here's what you need, here's what you have in stock, and here's what you have to buy.
Right. Some of you have asked, how are you feeding the kids? Are the boys eating on this as well?
They have to eat too?
Yeah. We kind of do have to feed the boys as well.
This has been actually really huge, and I'm going to say this on like public YouTube right now for their future wives. Because they're learning like cooking now because we've already cooked our meals, and yeah, we'll help them cook their meals, but they're having to make certain meals themselves.
Right.
So.
But what we have done is that usually I will take 2 of my meals and Jason will take 2 of his meals. I'll do one of my chicken meals. He'll do one of his chicken meals so that they have different flavor chickens.
This week I did one of my meatloaf meals. They had meatloaf one night.
Right. So we'll each choose 2 of our meals and we will make the equivalent of extra what we think the boys will eat of that meal. Not necessarily in any kind of portion or whatever, just extra.
I usually figure it out like 1 extra serving, basically per kid.
So there's 4 total meals that they are eating on plan with us. They might not eat all of the same vegetables or whatever. We might give them some different sides.
I don't see them eating kale or arugula.
Right. It's a work in progress. Maybe one day.
But they'll have carrots or
we do make them
corn
choose,
or whatever.
some sort of healthy sides. And then 3 days a week are kind of kid friendly. So they'll have a pizza night.
Sloppy Joes.
They'll make things that are kids friendly for them, and we are making them cook those things themselves as well.
So the other night we had our meals set, but Connor actually took chicken and grilled chicken outside on the grill, you know, with supervision obviously, but he was responsible for seasoning it and cooking it, and then Tyler has made sloppy joes before and had to go through that whole process, and so it's been good because they've been learning, and I think they've been more accountable to it as well. And I think portion-wise too, I think even, because they have to cook it, like, it's not just this big pot of stuff sitting out for them to eat. It's like, oh, I had this little chicken breast I have to cook, so that's what I'm going to eat, you know.
So that's what we've been doing, and thanks for asking, and thanks for being so encouraging. I'm glad you guys aren't getting sick and tired of like our Instagram and Facebook photos of all of our food all the time. You're actually kind of excited, and
we used to make fun of people like, oh, well, this foodie's only posting their food. That's all we see them post, and now it seems like that's a lot of what we post.
It is. I don't know. Our life kind of still revolves around food.
But if you really, really like us, subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.
We need 100 subscribers. This will be funny when we go back and we have a lot more subscribers.
Yeah.
To go back and be like, look at us begging for 100 subscribers. But we need one because we want to do a custom URL, and so it's really important to us that you guys subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends. Like, this isn't just
Yeah.
between you and us. This is, anybody can see this, and if it's helpful, we're happy.
So how are you guys eating? What are you guys doing? What have you done that's been successful for you? Let us know, because we might not always just do this program. We're always looking for new ways to, further our nutrition and better our bodies and better our souls and minds and things. So,
and if you have questions that you want us, like, that we didn't hit, like, how do you make this, or what do you use to do that, or like, what tools did we have to get, or what extra stuff that we didn't have around the house should you anticipate when you do something like this? Just like she said, comment or contact us or whatever, and maybe we'll address those later on in another video.
This is already too long, so I'm not going to add any clips or whatever. So if you would like to see like a clip of like the types of food that we're eating, or our meal prep, or like our food containers and things like that, us grocery shopping, then give us a thumbs up. We know you guys are watching this stuff, and then we'll make that and create that content and share it with you guys. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.